Not being identical is way too mainstream. I prefer looking exactly like your partner.
Looking exactly like your partner is too mainstream. I prefer.
You just prefer me.
I do prefer you. But
Dressing exactly like your partner is too mainstream. I prefer slowly injecting myself with your DNA over time.
slowly injecting people with DNA is too mainstream. I prefer full body transplants of consciousness.
Full body transplants of consciousness are way too mainstream. I just prefer hitting people with mind control lasers.
Hitting people with mind control lasers is way too mainstream. I prefer brainwashing them so they become part of my private army.
Private armies are way too mainstream. I prefer world peace.
World peace is too mainstream. I prefer World War III.
World War III is way too mainstream. I liked World War One before it was the World War. I prefer World War One. I liked World War One back when it was the Great War.
The adjective great is too mainstream. I prefer super mega foxy awesome hot.
Star Kid is way too mainstream. Oh god, I was about to say I prefer Equals 3. God damn it, Ben! Equals 3 is way too mainstream. I prefer homemade YouTube videos made with photo booth on someone's bed. Like this one.
Making videos with photo booth is too mainstream. I prefer obscure photo capturing software that I still have on this computer but don't know how to use because the controls are too complicated.
That I haven't heard of because it's a Mac.
Exactly.
Also, this angle is way too mainstream. I prefer having it at 60 degrees. Oh god, MySpace shot video. MySpace is way too mainstream.
I prefer Google Plus. Taking photos at right angles to an object is too mainstream. I prefer leaning backwards a little bit so I can pretend to be an arts graduate.
On that previous topic though, social networking is way too mainstream. I prefer going to coffee shops with people.
Going to coffee shops is too mainstream. I prefer sitting in parks with takeaway coffee.
I wasn't done. I was going to say sitting in coffee shops with people and throwing empty cups at people you don't know. Poke wars are way too mainstream.
I prefer actually poking people. Burp.
Nah. Yeah.
Ah!
Physical violence is way too mainstream. I prefer screwing with people's brains.
Screwing with people's brains is too mainstream. I prefer actually screwing people.
And with that, you'll have to watch part 2 of this video on RedTube.